Hello and welcome to episode 8 of Beyond Ideas podcast. My name is Jorge Surya, or my artist name is Jorge Surya, and today we are gonna talk about the need for external validation. If you are new to this channel, I welcome you to just explore the different videos, different ideas, and I hope that you get some entertainment and some value for it. I believe that it can help you live a better life in some way, or at least a more conscious life. Or maybe it doesn't. And you just waste your time. Who knows? But yeah, very welcome. And like I've been saying in these episodes, this is the beginning of my journey. So, expect a lot of vulnerability, expect a lot of mistakes, expect a lot of like non-expertise in these topics, and just like someone who's starting a journey, the journey I have already started, but the podcasting journey, and just sharing some of my life experience and some things that I think it can help you and everyone who listens to this. So hope you stick to it and enjoy the episode. So today we are talking about the need for external validation. And maybe I can just give some context for someone who may not understand, but I'm sure that throughout the episode you would understand what is external validation. The way I would describe it is, validation is when we get a sense of recognition from other people and from ourselves for some actions that we do. So, I don't know, let's say I recorded an episode, so I can validate myself for recording an episode. Like I can cheer on myself, I can recognize myself for the action, or someone like a friend, I can tell a friend, hey, I just recorded an episode, and they can validate me. They can recognize that I did this. So I hope that you can just get with this example, but if not, I'm sure that you're going to understand throughout the episode. And like I said, today we're especially going to be focusing on the external validation when it comes from someone from the outside to yourself, more than the internal validation, which if you stick to the end of the episode, I'm going to spoil it already. That's the best validation you can ever find, the internal validation. External validation is quite nice. I think it is very cool to be seen. It is very cool to receive appreciation from someone that we did something. Like you're at work and you just did something, a project, and you just presented the project to your boss, to your team, or whatever. And and you get that validation, and they're like, oh, we really like your project, we're gonna launch it, like whatever it is. Or maybe or you can think about when you were at school and you did a really nice presentation on whatever topic, and the teacher also gave you validation. They gave you validation by giving you a good grade or giving you good comments. Or maybe you inspire one of your classmates and they were like, I actually liked your presentation. Or the different ways of getting this external validation. A very common one, it's your parents. When your parents gave you validation when you were a child, and we will talk deeper about this. Or when your parents give you validation nowadays when you're an adult, for something that you do, for getting a new job, or for making money, or having partner, or whatever sense of recognition and getting that validation. And even for cooking dinner for them or whatever. Like there's so many ways of validation. I think that it's just a very common currency of exchanging love in a way. And it's really cool. However, it can be risky, and you will understand why in a moment. So I wanted to start by acknowledging the times that we live in today and how easy it is to get external validation, especially with social media. That is the number one tool if you want to look for external validation and you had some followers on social media. Just post a picture of your day, right? Post a picture of your meal, put a story of like whatever you did the other day, or go to the lake, go to the beach, go to the river, nice picture, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. You're going to get some likes, hopefully. And and that's a way of validating, right? It's like, yes, you got 5 likes, you got 10, 20, 1,000, however many you get. And so you felt that sense of validation, that sense of accomplishment, especially if you share something vulnerable, like something very dear to your heart, or whatever you share, right? But then we can fall into that trap, or maybe you fell into that trap, especially when we are younger, probably, of looking for like this, the likes and the friends and the followers and the comments. When we do something for ourselves, or when we, let's say you go to the beach, and who are you going to the beach for? Are you doing it for your audience, or are you doing it for yourself? I want to hope that you're doing it for yourself, and then you post that very nice picture with the sunset, or with your friend, or with your partner, or with a beer, a mojito, or whatever it is at the beach. Or even better, you go travel, like a very common one for social media. You go to Italy, you go to Rome and the Colosseum or whatever. I never been. I don't know how it looks, but you go somewhere they're famous, and you take a picture, and you get all the likes from all your school friends and your family, and that validation is like, yeah, I went traveling. Look at me, how important I am. So yeah, I hope that you get the irony there. Yeah, it's a funny topic. If you have been in this channel for some time, you know we like to talk about the ego. And in a way, this validation is very related to the ego, to the sense of identity, to the sense of self that we all have. But then there is the situation that we all live at some point in our lives, many, many times, which is the times that we actually don't get validation from what we do, or we don't get external validation for what we do. And then we get triggered somehow, somewhat, right? Let's say let's go back to the work example. I don't know what job you have, of course, but like, let's say like you're at work, and again you have this project, and you have been working super hard on doing this project, and now you're presenting it to your team, you're presenting it to your boss. You really think it's a really great idea, it's going to help the business, it's going to improve some things, like whatever it is, and then you present it, and you hear the cri cri, like how we say in Spanish, the cricket. You hear just picture is it cricket? I don't know, that little insect that makes like that noise. I don't know. I tried to make a joke, maybe it didn't work. But yeah, you hear that. You don't hear anything from them. You don't hear anything from the people at work, and then you are crushed. You are heartbroken. You were expecting to receive a lot of compliments. You were expecting to receive a lot of praise and for your work, and suddenly you just didn't get it. They were just like, yeah, sure, whatever. Let's move on. Or yeah, and just imagine many situations in life, maybe let's say you nailed down a job, like you just got hired at whatever firm that you think it's important or whatever, and then you tell your parents, and you're expecting, yes, you got hired, now you're employed and you're gonna make money or whatever. But maybe your parents don't care about that, and they're like, yeah, sure, congratulations, and that's it. But you don't get that big receiving of like validation that you were longing for. And the same goes for your friends. The same example, like you just hit the new job or whatever, and then you go to your friends, and they're like, yeah, but aren't you earning too little? Or didn't you study this career to get more money, or whatever it is? So yeah, there are many situations. I'm sure you can think of many situations throughout your daily life, even, where you are looking for validation and you didn't get that external validation, and you just felt sad about it. You just felt sad that no one saw you. You know, are you able to go for a trip, that you go on a trip with yourself, or your family, or your parents, or your partner, or your friends, or whatever? Are you able to go to a trip to Italy again, to Sicily, to Naples, wherever? And are you able to not post anything on social media about your trip, and still feel that internal validation? Like, are you able to not even tell anyone you did that trip and still feel happy that you did it? Or do you have a need of posting on social media? Do you have a need of telling everyone 3 months in advance, hey, look, I am going to Italy, it's gonna be fantastic, and you're stuck at home in the village, in the city, or whatever, and just being funny? But just think about all these times throughout our life that we just want to feel that validation. And yeah, and especially when you have a need of sharing on social media, like that's just like a reflection of like how much you are looking for external validation in a way. and just reflect on it. Like, how much are you looking for external validation? And just think about it. There's nothing to do about it. Just, give it a thought and see how it feels in your body. So now you might have the background to start looking at this external validation and this need or need in a way of the ego. So to even go deeper, now think about your childhood. Think about children in general. Just think about children. Let's say you go to a park, and you are sitting on the bench, and then you see like this family, this father, mother, with their kid or with the two brothers or something, the little kid. And the kid is just like going in the park, doing this, I don't know the words in English, but like going up the thing and like going down the swing and like swinging and like all this kind of thing that children do at the park. And then you're sitting there, and of course you will observe. I hope that you observe, and I guarantee you, I hope that it happens, that many times the child, it's like the parent is there with their phone or like looking or whatever, not paying attention to the kid. And then the kid is like, Papa, Mama, whatever. Can you look at me? I'm going down the swing. I'm going down I don't know the name in English, but I'm going down the thing. Can you look at me? And then the parent, of course, looks at the child, and he's like, "Oh yes, very nice, very nice. You did it. You want to do it again? You want to show me again?" Or the same parents or the child is learning how to do a flip on the ground or something, and the child does the flip for the first time, and the child's like, "Whoa, I just did a flip," and the parents were not looking. It's like, "Oh no, it is as if I didn't do the flip." Because my parents were not looking, the child didn't get that validation. So the child goes to the parents and says, Mama, Papa, can you look at my flip? And of course the parent puts down the phone and looks at the flip. It's like, wow, you just did a flip. And then they give the validation to the child. I hope that you understand this example and how it can apply to so many things in a child life. Doesn't matter what they do. They do a painting, the child is like quietly in the room or like in the living room, and the father is watching something on the TV, and the mother as well, they're watching something, and the child is in the background just painting something like very nice, very chilling, like no problem, right? And the child finishes the paint and looks at the paint, and it's like, I feel validated. Yes, I'm not gonna show my parents because I'm good enough. I'm good enough. I don't need my parents' validation. Probably not. Probably the child goes like, Mama, Papa, look at my paint. I did this for you. Can you validate me? Of course, the child is not gonna say, can you validate me? But subconsciously, in a way, the child wants that validation from the parents, because it's also a way of receiving love, and it's very beautiful. And I want you to understand that I don't have the intention of condemning validation. I don't have the intention of saying you are less because you need validation from social media, or you are less because you need validation from parents, relationship, friends, whatever it is. No, I'm not condemning that. I'm just bringing awareness that there's something happening here. When one gets very disappointed, when one doesn't get the external validation from the parents, from the boss, from the colleagues, from friends, partner, or whoever it is. So what I'm trying to say here is that there is a red flag when you may notice different parts of your life where you are needing extra validation. So let's go back to the child example. The child draws something on the paper, and imagine that the child shows the parents, and the parents just don't say anything, and they don't give validation to the child. Maybe the child's gonna feel quite sad, and maybe he just doesn't know. I don't think that situation will happen, but it does happen in some cases, but it would hurt a lot, right? And especially, so parents, of course, have a tendency of validating their children all the time, which is quite healthy and normal. But then the child grows a little bit older, and they are doing many things in their life, and then they have the friends at school. And then when the child learns how to do the flip, or they score many points on a basketball game or whatever it is, somehow, somewhat, they are also looking without asking for their friends' validation. So it's like the child gets the validation from their parents quite easily. Doesn't matter what the child does. They get the validation. But when the child is at school, sometimes the child gets validation from their friends, recognition. Oh, you scored a goal. That was a very nice goal. And sometimes no one notices that you scored a goal. And then you have to just feel it and deal with it. And the same with the teacher. Sometimes the teacher praises the students for doing a nice job at the exam or whatever it is at the presentation. And sometimes the teacher doesn't say anything. Sometimes the teacher gives you a very good grade. Sometimes the teacher gives you a regular grade, and then you get really disappointed. So again, just start to, just reflection, just start thinking about, all these situations that you go throughout your life with this need for validation. And these are very silly examples. Maybe we look a little bit on like more daily examples that you may actually experience. Get this idea reading in your brain. If the kid doesn't show the drawing to the parent, sometimes it's as if the kid never did the drawing. For some kids, if the parents don't validate their action, they even feels like they never did it, like because they haven't learned how to validate themselves yet. So now let's travel in time and let's go into yourself right now. Go into yourself, and now you are an adult, right? You are not a child anymore. So now you are living your life normally. And again, let's go back to work example. And I don't want to repeat the example again, but in essence, like you're presenting the project to your boss, whatever, and then you don't get validated. Is it as if you didn't do the project? Is it as if you didn't put the enough effort? Do you need your colleagues' validation at work in order to feel that you did a good job? So depending on who you are, depending on how you feel about it, sometimes you may or may not need this. But the invitation here is to look inside and see what happens. And okay, I'll give you a couple very silly examples that I actually live them myself. So I also need external validation. I also love external validation. I think it's quite healthy to receive and to get. But for my life, I just have been putting attention on like when do I need external validation in order to feel accomplishment, and how can I get that validation from the inside. But that's maybe for another episode, for a full other episode. But this was quite interesting when I started to connect with this idea of validation. So I have been training for about 4 years, a sport called CrossFit, and it's amazing. I recommend it to you. Try it. It's really fun. And I also have other things in my life, like things that I may be sort of proud of that can get me easy validation. So another common one is like being vegetarian. I am not vegan, but imagine if you're vegan. It's a very common one for vegans. It's there is a meme that says like a vegan walks into a room, and if they don't say they are vegan within 10 seconds, then they go crazy, right? It is very normal to be proud of these things that we do. I'm proud of the sport that I do. I'm proud of many things of my life. And of course, they're also an easy way of getting validation. So again, for example, I noticed that for some time when I would go work out, I subconsciously would love to tell people, hey, I went to work out. And of course, what are they going to say? Oh, you're boring. No, they're going to say like, oh, that's fucking amazing. You went to work out. That's great. Or yeah, you are in shape, or whatever it is, right? So my ego would be like, oh yeah, I'm working out. And I just noticed that there were times in my life where if I went to the gym and I didn't tell anyone that I went to the gym, I didn't post anything on social media, I didn't do anything about it, Yeah, it was okay, but it was not as great as telling 2, 3, 4 people that I went to the gym when they asked me, "What did you do yesterday?" Hey, I went to the gym. It feels good. It feels good to brag about these things, this sense of validation and recognition, and it's okay. And it's okay. But then I started, like I say, I started to become aware of this thing of like, wow, I enjoy more when I tell people what I do because I get their recognition, I get their validation. So then, the journey, the time passed, and I still was doing the workout and the trainings and all that. And then I had a lot less of that need of telling people that I was working out or whatever that was. I didn't care so much because in a way, I think I connected with that sense of like internal validation. So I didn't have that need of bragging about it. And yeah, it was a very beautiful journey and just a very silly example on like how you can transform that need for external validation into internal validation. And yeah, maybe if you want, I can do an episode on just how to get internal validation because I believe that's the key. But for now, we're just looking at different examples and different ways on how we look for external validation. So again, and I'm going to repeat it many times, go back to the kid. Have a kid mindset, have a child mindset, and think about the different examples in your life where you get triggered for not getting that validation, or where you just don't feel good if you are not getting that external validation. And then validation, in a way, or not getting external validation, it's an ego trap. Just think about it. The ego, that voice in your head, that self identity with who you are. You think that you are your name and your gender and like whatever it is. Your sense of identity thrives when you get validation, when you get praise, when you get recognition for your actions. Let's say you are actually in a bar with some friends having some drinks and just having a good time, and then you're telling them about your life. And again, you tell them how many times you went to the gym, you tell them how good you are with your partner or how good you are without a partner, you tell them how good you are in your work, how much money you're getting, whatever it is, just trying to get a shower of validation from your friends. And I think that's a very common thing between friends to just like, share about your life and also get this validation, but just become aware on where are you in the line of like how much of a need you have for external validation. The same as the child. How much does the child need the parents' validation? So when you connect with it, just think about this. Think about your inner child. Like, even if you're an adult, think when you are in your inner child and when you need that validation. When you get triggered for someone not seeing your value, that's the inner child saying, hey, where is my parents to give me that validation? They're not anywhere. My boss is not giving that validation. My partner is not giving that validation. My friends, my colleagues, whoever is not giving that validation. Yeah, that is a sign. That is a sign that you are in your child when that happens to you. And yeah, there's nothing wrong about it. And again, my intention is just to bring awareness. It's not to praise. It's not to say that I'm better than you or anything like that. Because like I say, I'm also in my child many, many times. The beautiful part of this is to become aware. If you become aware in your life where your inner child gets triggered, when the inner child doesn't get that external validation from these people around you, you are already very advanced in life, probably more advanced than 90% of the people. It is fascinating when you are able to become aware. And it is not complicated. It is not hard. It is actually quite easy. We're made for awareness. We're made for that. We are just distracted. You are just distracted, probably. But one way of connecting with awareness, can you take a breath and just follow the air from your nose to your belly, from your belly to your nose? If you can feel that, If you can follow the air just once, you don't need to meditate in the Himalaya for 20 years. You can just follow one breath. You are becoming aware of your breath. So with this principle, you can also become aware on when you are having a lot of need for external validation, and especially when you're not getting that need met, when your inner child gets triggered and you get emotional. And yeah, so now that you know and you are already like very advanced in this validation thing, this external validation and the inner child and all that, I gonna give you what I think is one of the most beautiful examples, one of the highest source of inner development and spirituality if you want to work with your ego is your relation with your parents, your relation with your friends, relations in general, but the highest one is your love relations. That is the deepest, I believe, the ego can go in all the different layers. Because if you're having a partner, or think about when you had a partner, if you had one, and if you didn't have a partner, just think about a really long friendship that you've had. You know, if you have even lived with that person, how many times do you get triggered? It is normal to get triggered, right? And yeah, and relations is a whole different world. Many books and podcasts and just the thing in itself of relations. But right now, just think about the external validation in your relation. How important it is for you that your partner recognize what you do for the relation, what you do for the house. Let's say you prepared a very nice evening, a very special date, a very special dinner, you know, and your partner came from work or from whatever they were doing, and they got home, and then you are like, look, I just cook all this for you, and just enjoy, and like whatever it is. And let's say that your partner might be super tired and they just go along to talk about their day, and maybe you were expecting that your partner was going to give you a lot of appreciation for preparing all of that for them, and they just didn't give that appreciation because they were in another story in their mind and going about their day or whatever it was that was more important for them. And then you go to bed and you're like, oh, I feel a little hurt that I didn't get that external validation. And it's probably very healthy to feel that way, but this is an example where it's an easy to get external validation. But how about those very little actions that you can do every day, not just for you, but also for your partner? And how nice it is that your partner sees when you do those actions. Very healthy. So far, so good. Now, the problem, I believe, it lies when you are actually doing actions to show your partner your love and to get that external validation from them. When you are in constant search or of your partner's validation for every single action that you do. And I'm gonna give you just a couple seconds, or stop the video and guess, what does this remind you of if you have seen this video? What does it remind you when someone is in constant need for external validation? So I hope that you got it. The child, the children. Like I said in the beginning of the video or in the middle of the video, the child is in constant look for that reassurance, that external validation. So if you're an adult and you are in partnership or in friendship or whatever relation you are in, and you are in constant need to feel this external validation in your relation, just wave the red flag. There's something happening there. And if you don't like what you hear, close the video and just put it away, or not. And if you don't like what you hear, I think it's a great sign. Look at your life. Start reflecting. How much validation are you needing in your life from other people? Another very common one, the parents' validation. Of course, the child needed the parent validation, but now you are an adult. Do you still need a lot of validation from your parent? From your parents, you know, the shirt that you chose, the house that you bought, the decoration that you did, the activity that you do, the workouts, the whatever part of life that you want to tell your parents, hey, like the little child. Hey, mama, papa, I just did a flip. Can you recognize me? Now you're an adult. It's like, hey, mama and papa, can you recognize me for the job that I did, or for the article they wrote in the newspaper about me, or whatever it is? And again, see, there's not so much of a difference between that little 5-year old, 7-year old, whatever, and you right now, who, if you're 20, 30, 40, 50, whatever, even 80-year-old, you might even have that inner child probably very alive. I hope that when I get to be 80, if I ever get to be 80, that my inner child is also, becoming triggered, and all of these things. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Otherwise, we become monks and in the Himalayas meditating for 20 years, and we forget the beauty of life, which is all these challenges, all these inner child triggers, and all of that. So yeah, just see, I hope that you got by now all these different examples of when you're looking for that external validation in your life, maybe through social media, through your friends, through all that, colleagues, and all these people that might not be so close and so important to you, but especially those who are close and important to you: brother, sister, parents, close friends, and especially partner if you have. Look at that. And also, yeah, how annoying it is to be with someone that is always looking for validation. You say you have a friend, and then you sit down once a week with them to go to the coffee shop or whatever, have a drink. They're constantly looking for that recognition. I don't know, but I am like, I don't know about that. Like I'm treating with a child in a way. So yeah, lastly, on the partner one, I'll give you just the last example, a very common, I would say, a very common words or sentence that partners may use with each other if they are very unconscious and very not self-aware, which is this one of I did this for you, you are not validating me, right? Let's say that you cook a nice dinner for your partner, and you're like, I did this for you, and you're not recognizing me, you're not thanking me for that. Or you went to wash the car for them, or you went to do groceries for them, or like whatever you did, that it wasn't just for you, but it was actually for them, and then you said, I did this for you and you're not validating me. Well, of course, you're not going to say the second part, right? So yeah, just recognize if that's something that happens in your life, or that's something that happens in your partner, and they are in constant like, yeah, I did this for you and you're not looking at me. The reflection here that I want to invite you, if you have been in those situations, I certainly have been at some moment in my life, it's sense if you are actually doing the action for the other person, if you're genuinely cooking dinner for the other person, or doing their laundry, whatever it is, if you're genuinely doing it for the other person, or you are actually doing it for yourself. In what way? You're cooking dinner for them so that you get that validation. You score some points in the relation. You get some good karma there, so that maybe another time you can ask for something bigger, whatever it is. Think about, when you do something, are you doing it for yourself, or are you doing it for the others? Or are you telling yourself, I'm doing it for the other, and I am super altruistic and I never think of myself and like all of that? Or you're actually very selfish, and you're actually just looking for constant praise and validation in some parts of your life? So yeah, just think about it. And all these examples, in the end, I would say, if I had an intention for this episode, I don't know if it's going to inspire you or something, but think the best for me is that you left this episode and thinking, yeah, just growing your awareness of this need for external validation in your life. With that, I am super happy if you get to that point. And to be honest, to whatever point you get, I am also super happy. I also don't know if anyone's going to listen to this. So it's just a funny ego trip and experience. And I hope I get to speak a lot more about the ego, and I hope that you enjoy, if you're listening to this, that I speak about the ego, because the ego is fascinating. It is so cool. And lastly, about the relationship topic, I am not condemning validation, and I am not saying don't be with someone who doesn't validate you. please be with someone that actually validates you. I think that's quite healthy. It's very loving, it's very caring. I'm not condemning external validation in any form or in the relationship. I think it's quite beautiful. What I am trying is to bring awareness on how much external validation from your partner do you need in your relation. Just think about it, just become aware of it. That's it. But of course, if you are with someone who never validates you no matter what you do, maybe think twice if you want to be with that person. Maybe you're happy, but I don't know. I wouldn't be, if you're doing so many good things and nice things and the other person just never tells you something. But again, I don't think it's about doing it for the other person or for yourself. It's just like, are you going to the gym so that you can show it on social media? Are you going on a trip so that you can show it on social media? Are you going on a trip so you can tell your parents, so you can tell your friends, so you can tell, like all this external validation, different ways of getting it? Or are you actually going to the trip because you actually enjoy it, because you actually just want to do it for yourself, and you are super happy if you didn't tell anyone if you did that trip? And you got to that point that you didn't tell anyone you did that trip because you fully did it for yourself, and you feel totally fine and you feel totally validated from your inside. So yeah, just think about it. Just think about it, whatever comes to you. So again, not condemning validation, external validation, super cool. I'm not saying don't post anything on social media. I'm just saying become aware. Become aware of what's going on inside of you. What's your need for external validation? And for the last part of the episode, let's flip the omelet. Let's flip it the other way around. Instead of talking about external validation, now think about internal validation. Because if this was a problem for you, this need, this, or this, I don't think the need for external validation is a bad thing. I don't think anything is bad, but when we do it like too much, maybe it can become a little bit bad. Or maybe not. Whatever it is, however it resonates to you, I don't want to judge you. I don't want to judge myself, like whatever it is. But let's flip it now and let's actually look at how, or the healthy way, which I believe it's to actually find the validation internally, to validate yourself before needing the validation from others. Let's go back at some of the examples we talk in this episode. This project at work that you've been working on for some time and you're presenting to your boss and whatever. Can you find that validation inside and go to that presentation with your colleagues, with your boss or whatever, already feeling validated, not having a need for anyone to tell you anything about your project because you're like, oh, I am super proud of myself for doing this. How healthy that is, And then you go to that room and maybe you get no validation. Would that affect you? Maybe a little bit, but maybe not, because you feel a sense of accomplishment. You did it for yourself. You're cheering for yourself. That's how you did it. You cooked that for your partner for that date, like whatever it is. And you did it for you. You didn't do it for their validation or for anything like that, and see how you can actually validate all these things, all different topics in your life, how you can find that internal validation and how beautiful it is. And one thing doesn't take away the other. You can find internal validation and you can actually also get external validation, and then you get double the joy. But here's the thing. If you're able to find that internal validation for the things that you do, and you don't have that need for external, when it comes, it's a gift. When it doesn't come, it's also okay. You are not dependent on another to feel validated because you are validating yourself. So, yeah, I just want to invite you to reflect on this and find ways of validating yourself. When you go to the gym, and you want to post on social media or you want to tell your friends or whatever it is, that's beautiful. That's wonderful. Become aware of it. But how beautiful it is that you actually did it for yourself, that you didn't need to tell anyone. That is the healthy way, I believe. That's the mature and the adult way. The parent who doesn't have a parent cannot tell their parents anymore. The child who has a parent can tell their parents and is looking for that. So, are you in your inner child when you're needing for external validation? Or are you in your adult self when you're actually sourcing that validation from within? And of course, we are adults here. Everyone watching this video is so enlightened and so mature. It's like, yeah, I'm good. I don't need external validation. I never didn't need external validation. I am good by myself. I can source within and all of that. And if you are in that, good for you. I believe that we all have this in one way or another, in a bigger way, larger scale or lower scale. We we all go through situations where we are looking for external validation because it's normal. I also do it myself. Now, how much energy is leading in your life? How much energy is affecting you to invest this energy in this external validation or whatever it is? Okay, I think I don't know what I'm saying anymore. It's quite late right now, and it's been a long day, but I think I got my point across. I think that you got what you needed to get. If you did, and if not, it's okay. Life is telling me right now that it's time to end the episode somehow, somewhat. Even though I love talking and I love philosophizing and just talking about this. So maybe what comes to me, there's something coming to me about the ending of this validation journey that we live together, is to, again, like I mention often, and I think it's a nice practice. It's not just about realizing about the external validation or the internal validation or whatever, but think about your ego. Think about your sense of identity, of who you think you are. I think I did an episode about the ego, and I hope I do like 20 more about the ego. But it is really cool to think about your ego, the story that plays in your head, and how validation also is part of the ego. And yeah, and there's nothing to do about it. I just want to invite thought and awareness, and like the name of the podcast, beyond ideas, to go a little bit deeper in all these topics. So thank you so much. I just noticed that sometimes I speak super fast and I want to speak a different way, and my inner critic also comes, but I want to become aware of my inner critic, and yeah, just allow it to speak and to tell me, hey, you're speaking super fast. You should speak slower. You're having a Buddha figure there meditating, and you are talking about meditation, and you are actually speaking super fast and not breathing. But it is what it is. I just become aware of the voice in my head, and I allow it, and I have fun with it, and I become curious, detached from the ego. So yeah, I hope that you got some value from this episode? I don't know. I don't think I hope anything, to be honest, but it's a way of saying, yeah, I would be really happy if you got something out of this episode. Let's put it that way. That feels true to me. I would be very happy if you got something out of this episode. And if you did and you liked it, if you listen to the whole thing or to just one little part or whatever it is, and you want to support me, you can do it for free. You can subscribe to this channel, you can comment, you can like the video, you can share with your friends, follow me on social media, whatever it is. All these things are for free, and it will really support my journey. It would give me a lot of external validation for sure, but I don't think that's actually what I'm after for. I think why I would be happy that you did it is because I believe that's a way of growing the channel, and it's a way of telling myself or showing myself that yeah, that this is actually bringing some value to society and to some value to some people, and that it's actually a good idea to keep going and doing these videos. So yeah, that would be my validation, to validate the business in a way, validate me being a speaker or me creating content or whatever it is. But again, see, I also want external validation. It is also okay. This is not about condemning anything or pushing down or like saying a no to something. It's just about bringing awareness. Okay, I shut up now. Thank you so much again one more time. And I also super grateful to myself for being able to sit down here today without knowing what I was going to record, and being able one more time to just like get it done, put one more on the books, one more episode on the books, and just like, yeah, I really celebrate myself. And if you notice, I like to end the videos this way because Yeah, it is beautiful to celebrate oneself, to celebrate the journey, and you are part of it. So thank you so much for that. And I really wish you a good day. I wish you a good week, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. And one more thing, like usual, to not forget to breathe. It is very beautiful. Just take a deep breath with me, make a little sound in the end, and that's it. That's all you need. One little breath. That's full of happiness. In one breath, I don't think you will ever find unhappiness because it's just one breath. After that breath, the mind comes and then the unhappiness or your life situation comes back. But in that one little breath, and remember, you can do that one little breath as many times as you want during the day. In fact, you're always doing it. You're just not aware of it. And I say that to you, but I also say that to myself. I'm not playing God over here or whatever it is. Okay, I said for the third time I'm gonna shut up, so now I shut up. Thank you so much. I wish you well and enjoy your life. Ciao.